If you will change, everything will change for you. You don't have to change what's outside. All you've got to change is what's inside. To have more, you simply have to become more.
Most people never pick up the phone and call. Most people never ask. And that's what separates sometimes the people that do things from the people that just dream about them. You gotta act. And you've got to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to crash and burn.
I want to have minimized the number of regrets I have. And you know, I knew that when I was 80, I was not going to regret having tried this. I was not going to regret having wanted, trying to participate in this thing called the internet that I thought was going to be a really big deal. I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not ever having tried. And I knew that that would haunt me every day. And so when I thought about it that way, it was an incredibly easy decision.
The sacrifices that I encourage people to take are not sacrifices I did not make. And I don't say that there's no ways to get there. I'm just saying that this is the way I got there. And if this path works for you, then maybe it works better than what you're doing right now.
So you need to be sort of very rigorous in your self-analysis. I think certainly extremely tenacious, and then just work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in, 80 to 100 hour weeks every week.
Become twice as valuable and make twice as much money in the same time. Is it possible to become 3 times as valuable as you now are and make 3 times as much money in the same time? Is that possible?
What if? A lot of times I'll be in a 200-mile run or something like that, and I'm all jacked up. Body's broken, mind's broken, spirit's broken. I started to say, what if I can pull this off? When I first walked into the Navy SEAL recruiter's office, he looked at me and said, there's only been 35 African Americans in 70 years make it through. You know what I said to myself? What if I can be the 36th? It's the what if I can pull off a fucking miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be?
Mistakes, eventually something goes well. So I say this to people, look, how many ways have you tried to earn money? You earn money X way. How many other ways have you tried? Because you need to try a whole ton of ways, and you gotta make a bunch of mistakes, like a scientist does, to find the thing that works. And everyone's heard this before, right? And then they'll say, they have 2 hurdles to doing that. 1, they're lazy. And 2, they'll say, well, I have ideas.
A source of strength needed to sort of persevere through this.
A source of strength. I just really not how I think about things. I mean, for me, it's simply this is something that is important to get done. And we should just keep doing it, or die trying.
You just gotta grind.
Yeah.
I feel like this next generation that's coming up, and I don't mean to smash all of them, but they seem like a bunch of pussies to me, So, because of that, there's never been more opportunity than there is right now. If you're a fucking savage and you get out there and you grind hard and you want it bad enough, you can run all these guys over, man.
You better be pretty hard on yourself. And Steve was tough on himself. And it makes you at first maybe not a very good manager, because you tend to manage people like you manage yourself, where you're just so tough on them. And, for me, that meant that in my early days, I could get a lot out of people who were like me.
If you want to be great, you want to be the baddest motherfucker ever at what you do, you could be misunderstood by everybody, because you're going to be so fucking obsessed and so driven to get there. That's what it takes.
That's the truth.
It takes every second of your fucking life. Anybody says balance? Yeah, balance is important for a lot of fucking people. It is. But if you want to fucking go to that edge where people do not like you, don't understand you, question everything you fucking do, you've arrived. When you are misunderstood to the point where fucking people think you're psycho and you're nuts and you're this and that, why are you in the fucking gym at 1 o'clock in the fucking morning? You just got through doing an op for fucking 13, 14 hours after Ranger School, man, at the gym. What is wrong? You will never understand what is wrong with me.
To have more, you simply have to become more. And then he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills.
Obsession's gonna be talent every time. You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed? Is it all you ever think about? Let's face it, it's you against you out there. When you walk on that court, you have to think, I am the best guy out there.
You know, fuck your tired body, fuck that unmotivated mind, and get out there and do it anyway. You know, you better fight yourself, because you're not only winning when things are going your way. You got to figure out how to win when things aren't going your way.
To give you the best possible answer, but I think certainly being focused on something that you're confident will have high value to someone else, and just being really rigorous in making that assessment, because people tend to, a natural human tendency is wishful thinking. So a challenge for entrepreneurs is to say, well, what's the difference between really believing in your ideals and sticking to them versus pursuing some unrealistic dream that doesn't actually have merit? And that is a really difficult thing to tell. Can you tell the difference between those two things?
Right.
You know? So you need to be sort of very rigorous in your self-analysis.
If you can project yourself out to age 80 and sort of think, what will I think at that time? It gets you away from some of the daily pieces of confusion. You know, I left this Wall Street firm in the middle of the year. When you do that, you walk away from your annual bonus. And that's the kind of thing that in the short term can confuse you. But if you think about the long term, then you can really make good life decisions that you won't regret later. Most regrets, by the way, are acts of omission and not commission. You know, I think most people when they're 80 years old, you know, you can do bad things. You can go murder somebody, and that would be bad, and that would be an act of commission that you would regret. But most, you know, everyday, ordinary, non-murderers, their big regrets are omissions.
You know, he's adopted. You know, his parents kept his sister, and they didn't keep him, and so he ends up with a pretty negative view towards his biological father. You know, Elon Musk had a fairly complicated father, you know, who was apparently very tough on him. So often when you see people who are, you know, high achievers, there's some, you know, something they're trying to prove.
Now, I've actually always found something to be very true, which is most people don't get those experiences because they never ask. I've never found anybody that didn't want to help me if I asked them for help.